It's so disgusting, Mark grumbled, getting into someone else's phone, and then having a detective help you gather evidence. Disgusting. Gross isn't cheating creepy. Go away, I don't want to see you. We divorced and split the assets. Mark didn't give me a millimeter. The apartment was sold. I had a one-bedroom with a big kitchen. Divorce is expensive. I always thought I had the best and most loving husband in the world. And when the kids grew up, it turned out I wasn't the only one. My husband. I'm not the only one. It turned out like a not-so-good movie. I saw a strange message on Mark's phone screen from a caller named Sergey, car service. For some reason he wrote, "I paid for the trips." My first feeling, habitual, mastered over the years, was, this is a mistake. A technical mistake. Then I said to myself, stop. But the message didn't come from a nameless subscriber. The contact is in my husband's phone, so it's no longer a mistake. Then I had the urge to interrogate Mark. But you have to know my husband. You can torture him with a soldering iron. He won't say anything. If he doesn't want to, he won't. The water was turned off in the bathroom. I tiptoed into the kitchen. My breathing was out of rhythm. For a moment I thought it was my heart. A heart attack. I saw the message in the hallway. Mark had left his phone there and gone to wash up. And I went to my purse on the shelf next to mine for something. And now I have to act somehow. And I don't know how. I can't think of anything. And what I wanted in my purse is out of my head, too. Emma, is dinner ready? My husband asked, coming out of the bathroom. Almost, I said, and I was surprised. I said it, and my voice didn't waver. I hired a private investigator. It's not that expensive when you just need to find out if your husband is having an affair or not. I filed for divorce. I told Mark calmly. The children are adults. There will be no problems. Alice is 18. My husband objected in a daze. I don't care if she's 17. You're the one who let her live with Vlad, so she's an adult. I was thinking of us two. They're in love, and we'll be able to live for ourselves at last. I thought he was kidding. I wasn't going to yell. Go where the vouchers are paid for. Live for yourself as long as you want with your 28-year-old Anna. How disgusting it is, Mark grumbled, getting into someone else's phone, and then to collect evidence with the help of a detective. Disgusting. Gross isn't cheating creepy. Go away, I don't want to see you. We divorced and split the assets. Mark didn't give me a millimeter. The apartment was sold. I had a one-bedroom with a big kitchen. Divorce is expensive. Mom, you need to lick your wounds. The sea or the ocean is good for that. My son, Constantine, told me, buy yourself a trip of some kind, and when I heard the word voucher, I screamed like a madwoman. No. Well, let me and Maria buy you one. You can go to Egypt or Turkey. With the trip, it all began, or rather, with the very word. Son, I still have money, and I have a job. I've been customizing software, remotely. There's a clever program that connects 2 or more computers at any distance. You just have to know the password. I used to customize software offline. I worked for a small company. Then our boss died, the company fell apart, and I continued to work with clients, thanks to word of mouth. Well, nobody canceled advertising on the internet. And now, to set up everything on someone else's PC, you don't even need to leave the house. The main thing is to know where everything is, and to read the updates carefully. Anyway, you don't have to buy me anything. I just don't want to go anywhere. Okay. Mom, you're being a little weird. You don't want to go. You don't want to go. Why are you yelling? Why don't you tell me what's going on? My son was worried. Maybe his mother went crazy because of the divorce. Daughter Maria also came by yesterday, sympathized and left. Vlad won't wait for me. His private life, it's all clear. And what do I have now? A son. When I saw him off, I decided to say it. I ask you very much, be faithful to your wife. My son gave me a quick hug and said, Jennifer and I made a deal. If anyone falls out of love, we'll be honest. No cheating. Good for you. I hope you don't fall out of love. I haven't seen much of my kids since they started their own families. Nothing's gonna change now that I'm alone. I knew it. How do I learn to be so damn lonely? Work, books, soap operas during the day. I could go for a walk. But when it was time to go to bed, I cried into my pillow for a long time, pouring tears all over the pillowcase. God, it hurt so much. Why? Or maybe I'm just stupid. Mark wasn't going to divorce me. Maybe I should have kept quiet like thousands of wives do. Shut up and pretend I had a family. That everything's fine. No. How am I supposed to sleep with him after knowing that? Absolutely impossible. I did everything right. After a month of crying to snotty soap operas, crying into my pillow at night, and a plus on the scale in the form of 3.5 pounds. I realized something is going wrong. Yeah, I'm 45. Does life end at 45? They say it's just beginning at 40. And this way, eating pizza to a movie, I'll die of too much cholesterol in my bloodstream. Good afternoon. I'd like a card for a year, I said to the receptionist behind the counter, pulling a bank card out of my wallet. The girl began describing to me the benefits of their fitness club. Maybe to some it would seem like caring, but not to me. Stop. I'm already here for you. Please sell me a card. Give me a key to the locker, and thank you. I really wanted to say shut my mouth, but I didn't. Sometimes modern service is really annoying. Here we go. An hour of gym a day, less calories and stupid TV shows. Then again, it takes a while to get there and a while to get back. I paid for personal training, too, so the trainer could show me how to work out. I didn't like working out too much, but the extra weight was gone, and after a few months my body started to look different. Emma, your divorce was good for you. My friend Rita gasped. You look so much prettier. We met for the first time in a year. She wanted to come to my place, but I suggested we meet in a cafe. When Rita objected that it was expensive, I told her I'd pay the bill myself. Where did you get this attitude? Admit it. Did you pick up a rich guy? You. I don't even think about it. They all make me sick. Do you think my husband doesn't go out? I'm sure he does. What are we gonna do? Get a divorce. To each his own. I shrugged. Rita was looking at the menu. Her way of life didn't include going to restaurants. What's there to get? Rita, order whatever you want. I said I'll pay for it. No, she's definitely sleeping with an oligarch. I'm not sleeping with anyone. I suddenly smiled. It's just that my budget is my budget now, not my family's. I'd rather help my kids than go out to coffee shops. Yeah, I'm getting a little bored with my friend. We've been friends since high school. She's one of the few people who hasn't gotten lost. Kids don't ask. Either order, Rita, or let's get out of here if you're so uncomfortable. We ordered and sat in the cafe talking until evening. Rita stopped being boring and even cheered up somehow. But in the evening her husband lost her and started calling her incessantly. Should I get a divorce too? Said her friend thoughtfully. Don't, Rita. It's bad enough alone. I even went to the fitness center out of boredom. Exactly. And I see you've become so fit. Good for you. Way to go. After a while, it became clear that fitness was no longer the answer. I had a lot of free fucking hours to get hurt again. I just used to get so tired at the gym that I didn't think about anything. And now I found it easier to exercise. Advertising heard me and slipped me a picture. Learning to sculpt. I remembered a long-time dream that had faded into oblivion a long time ago. But in my early childhood, when everyone was using molds, I sculpted real figures out of sand. Too bad those figures had a very short life. Then I made clay figures on the beach. And then there was school. And I kept asking my mom to find me a sculpting class. Mom had no time for it. And then I forgot about it. I remembered only now, because I had long ago put this passion in a drawer with children's silly fun. Since the 3rd grade, maybe. I grabbed my phone and called my mom. Mom, why didn't you let me take sculpture when I was a kid? Remember I asked you too. Why didn't you ask me how I was feeling? Mother grumbled. How are you feeling? Mom, I asked practiced. How can I feel? Your father mowed the grass and cut the tulips. You're so good to be divorced. I was a fool not to think of it. Mom, I couldn't stop laughing. Dad didn't mean it. Of course he did. Mother was indignant, and I realized that there was no point in talking about sculpture with my mother. But I took the class even though it cost money. Rita asked me why I didn't help the children, but the kids don't ask. To clear my conscience, I called Constantine. Son, how are you? How are you doing with money? Money's never easy, Mom. Why? Do you need help? No. I thought you might. I'm touched. No, Mammy. But for your birthday, if anything, you can give me money. My daughter Alice said they'd give it to me if I needed it. Aren't you going to get married? I asked my daughter. No. We're fine as we are. So, we talked, and I took my hard-earned money and went to study sculpture. At one of the classes, when we had already gone through the basics, the teacher gave us beautiful sheets with figures. We're going to try to copy them. Imagination is fine, but you have to perfect your technique. Nothing works better than copies. I got a dog with high ears. I started modeling the dog, wondering where I'd seen it. You can't just stand there with ears like that. It's ancient fictional, probably. Who is it? I asked the teacher as he walked by. The North African wolf. He's an ancient Egyptian god. That's right. Thank you. I made a great Anubis. My teacher praised me and said I had talent. We live in a time when anything is possible. I'd think about it if I were you. You do have talent, Emma. All's well in good time. But thank you. I took my wolf and went home. And back home, out of boredom, I took a picture of the sculpture and ran it through search. Apparently, Anubis was really well done. That's how it came up in the search. I started reading about ancient Egypt, and suddenly I had a craving to go there. To see the ancient sculptures, to see the pyramids. I was in Thailand, and in Turkey, and in Europe. But Egypt somehow passed me by. Constantine, find me a trip. I'm afraid to buy something wrong. Okay, Mom, what are you interested in? Egypt, close to the pyramids. Aren't they everywhere? We laughed. My son helped me choose a trip. I paid for it. I realized that I no longer wanted to scream and cry from pain, and the word trip is no longer scary for me. In the morning, I woke up to a phone call. It was my ex-husband, drunk. Emma, how's divorce working out for you? After a year, any regrets? He asked. What's wrong with you? Why are you calling at 3 in the morning? Don't you regret getting divorced? I do. Is there any way to get it back? Emma, you're my family. 26 years together, come on. I thought I heard Mark sobbing. In the background of his voice, I heard a knock and a woman's voice. Apparently, Mark had called from somewhere in the bathroom and had been discovered. I passed out. What could I say? Already finally awake, I realized that I didn't regret the divorce. I don't feel bad anymore. I feel good. And on the airplane, I met a man. He was in the seat next to me. Would you mind talking? He asked me politely. I'm afraid of flying. Let's talk. I agreed. What is the purpose of your trip to Egypt? With the same as everyone else. A vacation. I'm going to see the pyramids and sculptures, for example. I'm especially interested in Anubis. Wow, so you're an original. Huh. I thought about it and said, no, I'm just not tired. Not really tired of anything. Then we got to know each other and we kept talking. Kevin was an architect, wow. We talked about marital status. I told him I was divorced and my kids were grown. And Kevin, that was his name, told me he'd been widowed a year ago. He'd come to his senses and decided to go to Egypt. It's the first time I'm going on vacation alone. He smiled. Well, nothing. Everything happens for the first time. Why didn't you go right away? My son says that the sea licks its wounds. I couldn't have done it right away. It would be too empty in the next chair, even with a woman like you in it. I'm sorry. I wasn't offended. I understood in theory, of course. Kevin, as it turned out, had a daughter who had married and was living in Spain. They rarely saw each other, as I did with mine. Geography doesn't matter much, kids grow up, and they have their own lives, and no one prepares us for that either, just as no one prepares us for divorce and loss. The flight passed almost unnoticed. Kevin and I had such a good and heartfelt conversation. He was 49 years old and a fit and attractive man. I tried hard not to think about his attractiveness. We ended up at the same hotel apparently. The tickets were from the same agency. Kevin gave me signs of attention, and I didn't know how to behave. I liked this man. I liked him a lot. But inside, I was shrinking from his advances. Afraid of what? Being hurt again. Come on, Emma, you're 46. Life hurts through people. You know that now. You can't hide from everything. The pyramids were beautiful. I didn't expect them to be that beautiful. We had 2 days left in Egypt, and I still had Kevin at arm's length. At dinner, he was thoughtful. He went to escort me back to my room and suddenly turned me around. Emma, am I wrong? You don't like me. His arms around my waist made me dizzy. Yes, you do. Yes, I do. But I'm afraid. I took his hands off me, but I didn't let go. I held Kevin's hands. Kevin, can you honestly answer me one question? Honestly, and only one. And it's about your past. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Go ahead, he said hoarsely. Did you cheat on your wife? Kevin's eyes widened in surprise, so much so that he might not have answered. But he did. Never. Never. Why? It's insecure men who cheat, and I've been confident until now. And he smiled disarmingly. I kissed him first, and no mistake. And my friend Rita was right. Divorce was definitely good for me. It's been a year. I'm happy with Kevin. I hope he's happy with me too. Life begins at any age, as long as we're alive.